Hello and a warm welcome to TBC News. Our headlines tonight: Tanzania get funds for mitigation and adaptation. 1,060 tourists to enjoy amazing tourist destinations. A very good evening to you. I am Margaret Getty. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBConline. Also get the latest updates through our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages at TBConline. Minister of State, Union and Environment, Seleman Diafo, who also attended the UN's 27th Annual Conference of Parties, COP27, says Tanzania will be able to get funds for mitigation and adaptation projects that are underway as a result of discussions held during COP27 conference.
Well, this year we came with our agenda. Our agenda is the resource mobilization to have climate financing. The door was opened by Madam President, and we decided to have a very strong team. For the first time, we have pavilion under this conference, COP27. We have Tanzania pavilion for the first time. And good enough that Tanzania, we came both the public and the private sector, we are speaking the same language. We will attend almost 70-80 meetings. Yesterday, I attended a bilateral meeting with Madam Anne, Honorable Anne, a Minister of Foreign Development from Norway, and Norway has committed to support Tanzania on energy and the agriculture project as well as on research. So we do believe that COP27 will have a very good, fruitful for the future.
He also congratulated President Samia Suluhu Hassan for suggesting the agenda of resource mobilization to get climate financing.
The story of this meeting, because as Tanzania we come with our guideline and the regulations, the Tanzania has shown the maturity how we can negotiate. For the first time, we came with the guideline and the regulation that deal with the carbon credit.
Miss Zandam cruise ship has just arrived in Dar es Salaam port of Tanzania, carrying 1,060 tourists from various countries. Tourists are expected to visit national parks, mountains, and other touristic attractions. This is the first cruise ship to grace the port of Dar es Salaam after the COVID-19 pandemic. Faidangaga reports.
Zandam cruise ship has arrived at the Dar es Salaam port. It's carrying 1,060 tourists from different countries in the world. It is expected to be in Tanzania for almost 4 days, spending 2 days in Tanzania mainland and 2 days in Zanzibar.
Mamlaka ya bandari Tanzania kwa ajili ya kupokea hii meli kubwa sana ya utalii.
We are here to receive a cruise ship which comes from the USA. A cruise ship is a big ship that travels to different parts of the world, carrying many tourists. This is a product of the tourism sector. We are thankful to President Samia Suluhu Hassan because the arrival of this ship is a result of efforts done by the government.
Anthony Matthew, a representative of TPA, says the arrival of this cruise ship will further stimulate the incoming of more tourists and business people.
Sisi kuja kwao ni faida kwetu kwa maana ya kuwa watakachokiona watatusaidia sisi kuwaelimisha watalii.
These tourists will help spread more awareness about the opportunities available here. So we warmly welcome them to Tanzania.
It's just been a wonderful experience. We've had fabulous weather everywhere we've gone and wonderful people. But again, nothing as wonderful as this welcome.
Wonderful. I love being greeted like this into your country. It's wonderful. It makes us feel very welcome.
Faidangaga, TBC.
The current employment market demands for university graduates to have hands-on skills along their academic certificates. Hence, education professional demands the current university curriculums to be reviewed to cater for new demand. Today, John Matthias interviewed Deputy Vice Chancellor Research Professor Benedetta Killian of the University of Dar es Salaam at UDSM during the 60 years celebrations since its establishment. And She starts by explaining how UDSM is practical towards the current market needs.
University of Dar es Salaam is as old as our country itself. This university started back in 1961, actually a few months before independence. We started in 1961 in October 25th, while this country got her independence in December. So you cannot discuss actually the history of this country without actually talking about the University of Dar es Salaam. And during those old days, it was the only university in this country. So in terms of contribution, back to your question, University of Dar es Salaam has done quite a big job, very significant work of producing human capital for this country. It's very difficult to go to any office here in Tanzania actually without finding our alumni who they are working maybe as a director in various disciplines in this country. So the biggest contribution I can say is about the production of human capital that in a way has been able to make a very significant contribution to the development of this country for the past 6 years.
60 years you are celebrating as since the starting of the University of Dar es Salaam. How do you prepare students or graduates in terms of technologies? How do you prepare them?
That's true. First of all, when we started, it is still in our document that the University of Dar es Salaam has got this very critical role, I can say traditional role, of training leaders. So first of all, our task is to train leaders of this country, but also East Africa region and beyond to the world. So teaching about critical thinking, as abstract as it sounds, but it's very important here for our students. But over recent years, due to digital revolution all over the world, we also pay a great deal of attention on use of IT in our teaching. So slowly the University of Dar es Salaam is changing, is transforming itself to become a smart campus. Right now we have one of our very important projects, and the purpose of that project is actually to transform this university to become e-university.
Now, Professor, lastly, as you are celebrating 60 years, it's not an easy task. So what is your last comment towards students and Tanzania and even East African people?
First of all, I think today we have learned quite a lot from our participants who have come from all walks of life. And one message that has come out very clearly is about of transforming our students to have a positive mindset, changing of attitudes towards work. As you have heard, attitude transformation, so that they can be able to fit in any kind of situation. They can be able to fall in love with learning even after graduation. There are a good number of private sector people here who have actually raised concern about the attitude of our graduates.
Despite great efforts that Tanzanian government has taken to ensure education for all, including free education up to high school level, academicians from various university institutions have called for a proper setup of career guidance for students from an early age. Teddy Mparanyanga reports.
Advice, information, skills, and experience that are given to an individual in order to identify career options and make a career decision is what we call career guidance. Here are some of the students from the University of Dar es Salaam giving us their views on career guidance.
The world is changing and things are developing, so you need to choose something that is going with the move and also it's within what you want and what you like. So that's what I can advise them. Career guidance is important.
Many students have talent, have courses that when they start take it, it will help them.
The school system should establish the career guidance system so that it can help students to understand more what they are going to do in their life in future.
Academicians say that career guidance is an important aspect that should be given or provided to a person from an early age.
Wanafunzi wengi wa Tanzania, hii sasa ninasema katika mazingira ya ukweli.
Most of the Tanzanian students, here I'm trying to be honest, most of the students seem not to have a vision of where they want to go or become. Their choices are much influenced by whether they win Tanzania Loan Board grants or not. Some base their choices on the subjects they have passed in high schools, and some go with fashion or which course is trending at that time. So we need now, apart from reviewing our school curriculums, as what Prime Minister said recently, is to make sure that our students do know what they want to become and what they should study from an early age.
Career guidance starts at lower level because we see kids who are at kindergarten when they're asked, who do you want to become? I want to become a teacher, because the person who is close to him or her is the teacher. But as they grow up, some of them get to know who they want to become depending on the kind of schools they are going to. But the other thing is also at an exit point. Let's say, for example, at Form 6, where kids exit to now go to the university. Do we have career guidance offices in these schools where kids can actually go talk to someone what they want to do, or maybe seek for an advice on what they actually want to do in future?
This will help them to make decisions when it comes to selecting a career that is suitable for them.
Also, Tanzanian students are encouraged to learn multiple languages to cope with the culture cycle of the world and enjoy different opportunities. Dr. Liabwene Mtahaba says many Tanzanians bilingual, but it's time for them to learn more than one language for their sake. Chinese ambassador to Tanzania, Chen Minjing-an, also analyzed the importance of learning languages.
In the contemporary world, the more languages you master, the more you are likely to be successful in your life. It is not enough to speak Swahili, our vernacular language, and English alone. Learn as many languages as possible. That will make you capable of living in any context confidently. You'll be able to communicate confidently in any person, with any person who you come across. So please, I also encourage other secondary schools in Tanzania, even primary schools, to start learning Chinese.
Language learning can serve as a bridge for understanding and provide a brighter future of life.
So far, young students are struggling to learn different languages, and it's only easy for them to access the best towards their learning. KCB Bank Tanzania has launched its first public bond, dubbed Fursa Sukuk, offering advantageous investment opportunity to Tanzanians with a minimum capital of 500,000 T-shillings. Gloria Michael reports.
Fursa Sukuk is a Sharia-compliant bond with 3 years maturity period that offers profit return of 8.75% per year. KCB Bank seeks to raise 10 billion Tanzanian shillings to finance KCB's Sahel Banking Sharia-compliant asset portfolio. The fund raised will be directed to finance business and services that are Sharia compliant, and the profit generated will be distributed to the investors.
This Fursa Sukuk will be able to raise a minimum of 10 billion from the market, both in Tanzania and outside of Tanzania. But if we do oversubscribe, we have a green shoe option of 5 billion, and we can go even further than that, as we've been given a right to from the regulators in play. But at the same time, we're telling Tanzanians as well as non-Tanzanians that you only need 500,000 shillings to be able to buy your Sukuk, and after that it will go in denomination of 100,000 all the way to a maximum that you wish. We do not put a cap on it.
On the other hand, the World Bank Group has appointed Nathan Bilit as the new country director for Malawi, Tanzania, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Mr. Bilit is an Ethiopian national and a development professional with over 25 years of work experience across Africa, East Asia, and South Asia. Mr. Bilit will be based in Dar es Salaam, from where he will oversee a portfolio of about US $12.5 billion in total commitment for the 4 countries. Gloria Michael, TBC.
Tanzania Ports Authority TPA has brought new modern machines which are able of lifting 25 to 35 containers per hour with the aim of increasing efficiency of the port. The Deputy Director of TPA in the city of Dar es Salaam, Juma Kijavila, announced this after receiving the delegation from DRC, which comprises of the Minister of Construction and Minister of Transport, together with the governors who visited the port of Dar es Salaam to see the operations of the ports as major stakeholders of the Dar es Salaam port for passing their transit cargoes. Speaking shortly after receiving the delegation, the Deputy Director General of TPA, Juma Kijavila, said the expansion of the depth of the ship's entrance to the port has reached 60%, where its completion will allow larger ships to enter the port.
The cranes we had previously had the capacity to carry about 20 containers per hour, but the new ones have the capacity to carrying 30 to 35 containers per hour. For 80 hours, the previous crane were carrying about 160 containers, but for the new ones, will be carrying 210 containers for 8 hours. So through these machines, we are expecting to increase port efficiency.
Kishafungwa, kwa hiyo tunaweza kushusha container mpaka 240 kwa masaa 8.
Indonesian Ambassador to Tanzania, Excellency Ambassador Triyogo Jamiko, and Palestine Ambassador Hamdi Mansour Abdul Ali visited CCBRT Health Facility in Dar es Salaam and pledged to support through capacity building and equipment. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, they said their visit was to understand service provided by CCBRT and challenges facing the institute and seeking measures to provide support.
I could witness how hard it is, how serious it is, the government of Tanzania as well as the people and organization to empower those who are vulnerable, especially women and as well as disabilities. So I congratulate for the CCBR as well as the government of Tanzania for having this kind of endeavors, and we wish them all the success. And we also learn that perhaps we can list or see things that we can collaborate with in this effort.
Astonished by the effort that this management of this institute are doing, especially to transmit awareness. The thing that I was amazed of is the awareness that this institution is trying to transmit to Tanzanian public. This is a very important message, and this is a very difficult mission. Before treatment, you have to put people aware of the problems they have, and there is always a solution.
CCBRT Chief Executive Officer Brenda Msangi expressed her institute's gratitude towards the visit and named a few areas of cooperation.
Countries in different areas, one being service delivery. As you know, CCBRT provide specialized and super specialized services, so we want to see areas where we can collaborate. But the second area is equipment. As for us to be able to provide these specialized services, we need equipment, so we also want to see if we can collaborate on how we can access equipment.
Director for Middle East Desk from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Hamed Mgaza, says Tanzania will continue to strengthen bilateral relations with Middle East countries in order to improve various sectors, including health services, for the people's benefit. That item welcomes our international news. It's time for international news by Nyambona Masamba.
Hello, welcome again to international news.
UN troops are patrolling the largest city in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, as M23 rebels group advances. They are said to have been 30 kilometers away from Goma. Thousands of people have volunteered to recruit to fight the group. There are more than 3,000 people who responded to the call to recruit. Let's go to Ethiopia. The World Health Organization, WHO, says access to Ethiopia's Tigray region remains stalled despite last week's ceasefire deal. The UN agency says millions of people need urgent aid after 2 years of conflict. Tigray is an rebel group caused defector that posed by Ethiopian government forces. From Ethiopia to Egypt, the lawyer of the Egyptian activist on hunger strike says he was being given permission to visit his client in prison. Earlier, the family of Allah Abdullah Fattah said prisoner authorities in his town gave him medical treatment. He's gone on hunger strike for 7 months and stopped taking water 4 days ago. He was imprisoned for spreading false news. We are crossing the Atlantic Ocean to Latin America. Colombia is the world's largest producer of cocaine. Now, from presidents to world leaders say it is time to legalize it and to end what is called a failure on war drugs. The former Colombian president, Juan Manuel Santos, says Colombia paid the highest cost in the war of drugs.
We have tried every single measure by the book, with many resources, many lives sacrificed, and we still have this problem. We still have the #1 exporter of cocaine to the world markets.
France says it will allow a rescue vessel to dock after it turned away by Italy around 240 people on board. The Ocean Viking were sailing about 4 weeks. 4 ships carrying migrants were initially denied permission to come to shore in Italy, but following the international pressure, 3 were allowed to ground in safe harbor. France has called the Italy's refusal to take the Ocean Viking unacceptable. Meanwhile, workers across Europe are holding much protest against the soaring cost of living. Human powers face severe disruption as natural workers strike over better pay. It is the largest industrial action across France. And lastly, to North America, a man accused of attacking the husband of U.S. Speaker Nancy Pelosi is facing federal kidnapping and assault charges. David DePape alleged broke the couple's house in San Francisco almost 2 weeks ago. Nyambona Masamba, Dar es Salaam.
That's the end of international news. Sports news is up next. It's time for sports news by Malio Cheto.
Tanzania artists has been urged to use opportunities available in the country to promote their work to international market. Speaking after the workshop aimed at transforming arts into business, presenters told the artists that to penetrate into international market, they should add values to their artworks.
Positioning ourselves is very important. Do we want to become recording artists for the sake of satisfying our passion points? Or do we want to become recording artists because we feel there is a business opportunity? We feel that it's a career move. I think it's important to assess those two prior to do anything else, and then move forward in terms of what you'd deem as the best approach as far as your brand is concerned.
Artists said they will use all the techniques provided in the workshop to penetrate their products into international level.
All the time I've been talking about the education from the primary school, especially the art education, because without education, it won't bring any change. Once a person is educated, understands the situation, how to move with the situations, you know. So all the time I keep on speaking about the education in schools, especially the art education.
The case of change music to be money, or the case of changing music to be business, is on how you arranged your team and how you manage your time between on talent and marketing. So talking about marketing is how you spread your music or your product to the world.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Culture, Arts and Sports, Dr. Hassan Abbas told the artists to establish their own identity if they want to sustain in the market.
Tamasha hili au kongamano hili limetusaidia kuanzisha mjadala mpana zaidi.
The workshop has given us opportunity to come up with dialogue on how we can change our artists from being called prominent artists but poor to Tanzanian artists who are rich. The workshop was aimed to impart skills and knowledge to artists on how they can transform arts into business, marking the opening of Bagamoyo Arts and Culture International Festival 2022. Reporting from Bagamoyo, Malio Cheto, TBC News.
This marks the end of TBC News for tonight. On behalf of the team that made this happen, I am Margaret Getty. Have a good night.
Bonge nyumbani